Check everybody's temperature. Check mine.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, so it's live. Right on. Okay, hang on. I'm going to go and share it real quick on a couple things.
How hot were you there, Billy?
92.
92?
Yeah. Now I'm 95.
Nice.
That's good, though, right?
It's 79.
Yeah, better than earlier.
77 on the arm. Should be all right. 97. We're below 100.
That's got to make you feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah. It's silly. Just silly. Are you drinking a scotch?
I would never dare.
Yeah.
Waiting on everybody to just file in.
Yeah, we're just going to wait for some people to pile in.
It'll probably take a couple minutes, I would assume. This doesn't. Oh, it does. We got one person watching. It does tell us. Oh, that's me. That's me. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I got live chat going. So I looks like we got 3 viewers. If anybody's out there that could comment on, see if we got good sound, good video, just make sure before we continue.
Yeah,
all good.
Sweet.
I'm afraid to ask, what is that, Billy?
Chinese coke.
Is that your practice snake? Do you practice on that?
No practice snake, man. For decorative purposes.
Okay. So share it on my Instagram.
Yeah, it looks like we got four watchers right now.
Yeah, we got a couple coming in. Sweet.
Sweet. Well, if anybody's out there could comment just to make sure it's working, the comment box is working, the live chat's working, our sound's working. We just want to make sure before we dive into that you guys can hear and see as well.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys see. Maybe that's the comment. Maybe I'll go try leaving a comment, see what happens. Oh. We got something from Caleb. We're coming in clear is what he says.
Sweet.
Coming in clear.
So that side is nothing for me. That's awesome.
Worked out.
Sweet. So we got 6 guys watching. So, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started if you guys want.
Yeah, I am.
Yes, fire away, Dave.
Okay, so I brought everyone together this evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. So we've got some pretty big news coming out. Our director of research and development is what I call him, has helped out quite a bit. Kaan Aya from Revive out of Byron Center, Michigan.
Yeah, Grand Rapids. Most people know Grand Rapids better. It's a small town in Michigan.
Right on. Yeah, it's iron resistant detail kegs. They are, for guys that use iron, it's going to be incredible. I mean, Kaan knows better than I do about them because he's been the backbone in creating them. But, I mean, they're going to help a ton of guys out. And then the other thing, really quick, is waterless tip. Again, another thing that Kaan brought up. For things like dusting cars that are either garage dusty or even like DIY guys that have their baby, right, and they don't get it all that dirty. Like these tips are perfect for jobs like that, where it leaves a nice solid fine mist. Where with these tips, the difference between these tips and the standard tip, for me playing around anyways, is the standard tip, yeah, it goes down to a mist, but it only projects like literally like that far. That's it. It doesn't project out. With these tips, we're able to project that mist away from the tip onto the surface. You don't have to be 6 inches away. You can still be a couple feet and shoot it out. Yeah, those are two big announcements. Obviously, the iron-resistant kegs is the larger announcement of the two. But while we're here, waterless tips are pretty sweet. They're finally in stock. I ordered these. Man, I went on this for like 4 weeks to get in, and then finally in. They're not on the website yet, but the back end is taken care of. I just haven't done the front end yet this time. But
yeah, I'm excited about the new tips. They absolutely, especially for the rinseless wash solution, it definitely has helped me out. A little bit of product, get a little bit more spread, especially for how I use the rinseless keg. I use it in often, like you had mentioned, like maybe dusting off somebody's car. But a place I use it quite often is between the compounding and polishing stages, where I'm trying to get some of that compounding dust off, which is extremely abrasive. And if I'm working with sensitive paint, I can mar the paint with removing it incorrectly. So, Wipeout works fantastic and works fantastic in lifting that up and a slick surface for allow me to pick up that abrasive material without damaging it. And then obviously involving the detail keg with the original gray tip, way better than any spray nozzle. I got a great spread. I could obviously have on hand that's ready to be used at any given moment. But the issue was getting the product out, especially picking up something like dust. The surface too wet, and I was finding it later on. I was getting drips coming out of the handles or the mirrors or things of that nature. So that's kind of why I reached out to Dave and said, hey, look, is there a solution? Can we find something that gives me even finer mist than the original gray tip? And this is kind of what we came up with. So like Dave said, it gives a really, really fine mist. So just, in my opinion, just enough product onto the surface to safely pick up that abrasive material and leave nothing behind. So that worked out great. Now, the tip is adjustable, so that's kind of nice too. So if you do find yourself, I forgot, maybe I need to wipe the door, inner door well off, or behind something, or behind a gas, I found some dirt, need some more Wipeout product. The tip does unscrew just like the gray one and provides you all the way up to a extreme style blast. So you can still use it in a waterless wash or rinseless wash setup, and then also close off that tip and use it in a dusting scenario as well. So that's definitely has helped at least my production in going from the compounding to polishing stage has made it very efficient. And also when I do car shows, car events, if I have a vehicle on display to keep it maintained throughout the event, has made it really easy. And I obviously use less product, but more effectively. So that's a great improvement to an amazing product already.
Sweet. For any questions anybody has.
Well, I mean, so like, I want to kind of take this opportunity and really just talk about why are we trying to have this YouTube live video? Why are we, why do we have a detailer, a product, a chemical, I don't know, you call it manufacturer, Billy? I mean, how would you refer to yourself? A chemical?
No, I'm a product manufacturer.
Product manufacturer.
I give up mixing chemicals together when they start asking me to do it between Wipeout and Wipeout.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you have, Yeah, and then you have a delivery system by Detail Keg. So it's I'm the end user. Yes, I am the R&D, but it's because I'm the end user that's going to be using these two products in together. But I'm here because I know it provides efficiency in my business, and obviously American Detail Garage and all of us are all really want to be more efficient in our business, because efficiency with the same or better results equals
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. What we're all here for. I mean, as much as we want to make every car possibly clean, at the end of the day, this is a business, and we're here to try to make some cash. So,
I think it's worth mentioning too that Kaan, this is not something that just transpired in the last couple of weeks. I know with American Detail Garage, Kaan has actually tested our products for the last at least 2 years.
yes.
So, and he's worked them on different applications, and then Detail Kegs came along. But this is not something that we just threw together in a week and, oh, I got some results for you. Kaan really does have a way of diving in and thinking about the best way. Like, I put something out there and I think, this is a great product. This is a good way to use the product. And then people like you guys always show me other ways to use my product. But I just want to get it out there that Kaan's actually been doing this for a couple of years before this video.
Yeah, I mean the new tip for the rinseless solution. What's that been, about 6 months?
Yeah.
Because obviously, like if I want to stand behind something, I want to have that background. I come from an electronic business background where these guys make the claims, it's the latest and greatest. If you ever need anything else, it's the best thing ever. And then next year they make the same claim on a completely different product. So it's just an ever revolving circle. It's never the best. It's the best so far. So if I was going to put my name or stand behind something, I know I need to see it working in the field in a consistent basis that provides confidence that yes, this is going to deliver what we're saying it's going to deliver in multiple environments, in seasonal environments, things of that nature. Not only in a laboratory where we've created a perfect environment to make this product work or make this device work. It works in a shop environment, in a volume shop environment. So that's kind of why it takes time. Some of these things can take time. The iron keg, which we haven't touched on yet, over a year, that Dave and I have been working on it back and forth. And there's just been times where I just let it sit, just see if it leaks, because that's my biggest concern with using a very expensive chemical. I mean, iron is an extremely expensive chemical. It's a very effective chemical, but coming to your shop in the morning and seeing half your product spilled out because a seal failed can definitely be a painful experience. So it's taken so long. Yeah, there's been a few $100s left on the floor, literally. But it's part of the experience, and I'll do it again every time, just because now we know we have a product, we have a design that will deliver on what we expect to deliver consistently. In environment. I've purposely neglected the iron keg to see what it can do. And it's so far what we've set up and how we've set it up, working with Dave and going back and forth, we've come up with a great solution. So really these us three coming together, we're trying to show you guys that we're always trying to push the boundaries. We're always trying to come up with ways to become more efficient and provide a better, a better outcome for anybody that's using these products together.
I would agree. And that's it. We'll see you guys later.
So I mean, so my iron keg is right here behind me. That's my iron keg, and I haven't had an issue with it for quite some time. And the setup has been really nice. And that's been really going back and forth, a lot of design. We started off with metal wands and, metal connectors and gone through a variety to find the right fit. And like I said, I'll do it again any day, because we can confidently say this setup will provide efficiency in decontaminating a vehicle. Where I've noticed the iron keg has helped me is that I get a better spread, a better mist, because we have that design, that new tip design. So I get a nice good spread of product, and I end up using less product. So where like if you had a spray bottle, you would really get, yeah, exactly. You get these shotgun sections. You have to basically saturate the panel to get to. Yeah, you're wasting product. You're wasting time. You know, and we're not getting any younger. And a lot of us in this industry are on the younger side. You know, we're in their 20s and so on and so forth. So right now, most of these guys are like, "Here, I have to squeeze a squirt bottle." Try doing that 10 years later. You know, Billy could probably speak better than most of us. He's got more experience in the field than most of us combined. And he could probably say, you know, using a spray bottle has hurt his hands in the long run.
So before the advent of the smartphone, you know, you just went to a computer because you did computer things. Before the computer, went to a typewriter because you typewriter things. You know, in the past, we always it was the normal to take a spray bottle and chunk it on the ground because it went out, and to get another one. We spent a lot of money back in the day in shops buying spray triggers and bottles. And, you know, when I found the kegs, I'm like, shit, I wish we'd have had this 15 years ago. You know, no more of that. I mean, I'm sure some guys still want to use a spray trigger, but the volume products that you're using the most of, I mean, the keg is perfect for it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think the spray bottle is completely out of the game. You know, I don't see anybody having a keg for every product. You know, I don't see somebody blasting windows with a keg. But I do. I question everything I use. You know, so if I'm using it more than 2 or 3 times, if I'm spraying it consistently, I'm asking myself in the back of the head, you know, can I put a keg in place of this? Because one of the other advantages of the keg that a spray bottle doesn't offer is that a keg will deplete every ounce of product inside of it while being effective all the way to the very end. Where a spray bottle, you know, once you're getting about halfway down that bottle, you turn it sideways, you're there, you're going to get air there, you're chasing that, you got to clear out the air. And, you know, in certain aspects, it's not that big of an issue. Where I found that to be a major issue is installing paint protection film. So paint protection film, you have to have the versatility to be able to spray in different angles, different consistencies. And you have a squeegee in your mouth, you're holding film in both your hands, you know, so the last thing you need to do is be fiddling around with a bottle that has air stuck in its lines. Where a keg, all the way to the last drop inside that keg will come out in the same consistency as it did when I first charged it up. So that's provided efficiency, a quality outcome for me, and obviously that makes my customer happy. And at the end of the day, that makes me money, and that's why I stand behind the detail keg. Just same thing with the wipeout. I use my wipeout and my F-bomb are in kegs because those are products I use quite often. You know, when I'm decontaminating the vehicle, I'm using F-bomb, engine bay, wheels, door jams. You know, that's where my F-bomb is coming in. So versus constantly spraying this product and fiddling around with a spray bottle, I get to focus on the task. I know that the device that I'm using is going to deliver the product at the quantity I want it to deliver, at the effectiveness I want to deliver. And that's something you can't surpass at all.
I'm laughing because we got a question from John Duffy that made me laugh. He asked, what's our favorite quarantine hobby? Has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, if you look at it, you know, I would say over the quarantine, us three have become better friends more than anything. We do chat and Facebook, and I've gotten an opportunity to get to know a lot of my detailer buddies across the country, to get to know them a lot better, because obviously we're all sitting at home, we're all stuck in the same place, much work to do, so we might as well, you know, create some good bonding relationship. And that's one really thing that's cool about this industry, that I can reach out to a competitor, a fellow detailer, a supplier, a manufacturer, and have legitimate conversations about day-to-day stuff, the business stuff, and everything in between, and really help improve my game. So when this unfortunate event does pass, because like anything else, it will pass eventually. I have sharpened my knife. I am ready for what the customer is ready to ask me, because I've been communicating with different guys and manufacturers for the last however long, and I'm ready for it. And that's kind of what I've been doing consistently.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, they're so quiet. Am I chatty? I'm always talking. Now's the time to do it, though, guys. Now's the time to sit there and ask yourself the questions in your head. Customer might ask you, now's the time to do a shop layout or think about what you can do. Because I think once this thing ends, it's going to be busy as shit. I just think it's going to blow wide open. And to get that efficiency down, if we're down a month, 2 months, some guys are going to be rusty going back. But this gives you a chance to reevaluate how you're doing things in your shop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Gives you a chance to clean up the shop, hone in your skills, work on efficiency, marketing. It's a great time. Everybody's at home right now. There's only so much content on Netflix. There's only so much content on a lot of these platforms. And so, I mean, it's an opportunity for detailers, professionals to take a moment, bring up the camera and have a conversation, not necessarily to another detailer, have that conversation with, towards your client. Show them why you use these products. Why do you have a keg? What is it that you're offering? Because at the end of the day, if you look like every other detailer in your neighborhood, in your market, what makes you stand out different? If you have the lower price, in my opinion, that's a bad thing. You're just ended up creating a race to the bottom for everybody. Where if you're showing a customer, hey, look, I use a $300 setup to spray a product on your car. Why? Because it makes it more efficient, it makes everything better. It's a better outcome. And when a customer sees that you've spent 10, 20 times the cost of a spray bottle on a spray setup system, it sends a big message. And I'm not trying to say that for the sake of saying that. I would say at least half my customers who walk in through the door have that incredible wow factor that goes, wow, this guy really addressed every detail of his business. I know he's going to address every detail on my vehicle. That's the message that it sends, and that's a message that you can build a business off of. Awkward silence.
Orders are coming in.
Awkward silence.
Then Dave's over there counting all the orders coming in. We're doing this.
While we're doing that, I mean, I'll keep going. I mean, that's the thing. I'm a talker, so I'll keep going. We can talk about.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
So.
No questions, huh?
Anybody have any questions? Come on. You got quite a few watchers.
Any questions? I mean, I've got a few of the design setups. I use them. You guys are sitting on the couch. Come on. You got nothing better to do. You at least can come.
I get off the couch to do this. Give us some questions.
Anything.
Here's some challenging ones. Like, what's the best rinseless wash to use?
Please don't.
Suddenly Billy signs off.
Should be AEG, man. We've proven it over and over again.
You know what's the best rinseless wash? The one you're using. I mean, it's
the one that's making you money.
Exactly.
For you.
I mean, people always ask me, what's the best product? There is no such thing. What's the best product? The one that you know how to work. That's the thing. And because, I mean, Billy, you can say that. The amount of energy it takes to design a product, then get it at a manufacturing level, to label it, bottle it, and getting in front of a customer is tremendous amount of work. And you're not going to do that if you're putting bullshit in a bottle. You're not, period. And I apologize. That's the truth. And in my opinion, every person that's out, every manufacturer's out there that deserves that respect, for sure. Nobody's better than anybody else. The difference it comes is on how you use the product, and does that product line up with the way you use it? I think that's the important part. And what I have found is the versatility of the American Detail Garage products line up the way I would like to use them. They're effective. They're consistent. I can grab a bottle today. I can grab a bottle a year from now and get the result that I'm looking for. Is it the best product? Who knows? Who cares? It's the best product for how I use it, and I have no complaints. And that's what's important. And if you find that product, then go with it, use it, and use it in a detail keg. Use it in the most effective way you have, and that's what we're here for. And if you have questions in the meantime, we're trying to help iron out iron keg, huh? Iron iron out the details to make it more efficiency, because we know that the products that we recommend work. And if you have a better product that works for you, by all means, go for it. Don't let us stop you.
Use it and use it often.
So Dave, you know, what's one of the things you would think that makes your kegs not necessarily superior, but like what is it would you say that makes your keg stand out more than other ones? Because I mean, one of the things that I've seen at least recently, and I don't know if it's just because I've been more initiated in the world, that I've seen other brands out there, you know, other products out there that offer a similar setup. But what one thing that you would think that really makes your product a little bit more individual?
So I mean, honestly, the biggest thing would be pressure to me, anyways. And I mean, sure, some dude might be able to go make a one-off keg sprayer that can do X PSI, but the difference between that and buying from a business is reliability, right? Like the business makes hundreds. so I guess just PSI and reliability. I mean, that's the biggest difference between detail kegs and any other keg sprayer, pump sprayer, whatever.
I mean, what? Sorry, go ahead, Billy.
I see DIY guys out there, and you can DIY anything. There's nothing wrong with DIYing it, but you know, some guys will be like, I DIY this, I don't get the pressure I get from a keg, but it still works. And to me, that translates into me being your customer and saying, you want $200 to detail my car, well, he'll do it for $75, and it's good enough for me. The same things that guys are out there posting about and bragging about, the same exact things they complain about.
Yep.
Now, what makes that higher pressure number so important?
So
I think the flushability. Are you asking me or Dave?
Whoever, you jump in.
I think the flushability factor. I think. Well, see, I've got the 15-gallon keg, and I put the high pressure sprayer on, like the paint sprayer. Man, it'll blast things like the window seals. You know, it'll blast things out. I think if I was going to put a value on it, is yeah, you get the high pressure that you want without depleting all of your liquid that's in the keg, and you have the option always to cut the pressure back. But if you've got 130 psi or 150 psi, and you got 12 cars to do, you have the full confidence that that keg, it's not going to lose pressure, not that much. You can leave it set for 2 weeks, it's still not going to lose pressure, but you're going to get all those cars done. Yeah, you might lose pressure on car number 10 or 11, but I wouldn't know. Dave could tell you better than that. But I think the flushability, to flush things out, and the consistent load in the keg throughout multiple jobs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, where I found it to be useful is, like you said, when I'm away from my shop, I'm away from my air compressor, I'm at a car show or car event, and I have my rinseless wash set up. I know as long as I have a quarter of that keg filled to high capacity air, that I'm going to be able to empty that keg out completely prior to the air ever giving out. So for example, I was at Autorama a couple months ago, and I had my 3-gallon filled with Wipeout, and I had put 2 gallons of mix, the 32-1 mix in the keg, and I left 1 gallon for air, and I took it all the way to the max to 150 psi, which gave me an opportunity over an entire week of every morning, every evening, wiping off these cars that are on display at Autorama. And the keg never gave up. So that's where I found that extra pressure to be useful. And another place too that isn't talked a lot is in doing paint protection film. That's another place where that high pressure, because I've used kegs at around 50 to 60 psi. And yes, it is 100% effective at getting product out of the keg. It gets you a good even spread. But one place that it can't do, which is really, really cool, and you would only understand if you did paint protection film. But when you're doing a large panel like the hood, and you're trying to lift the film in the center of the hood, you don't want to quite reach your arm all the way in there and take the chance of getting dirt in there. You can basically open a tip up on the keg and spray in there, and it's coming out at such high pressure and such volume of liquid. I can actually lift up that film, give me that pocket of air that I need to move that film around. And I could not produce that with another branded keg. So not saying that the other ones are bad. I just think, yes, the high pressure it can be very important, very useful in detailing and paint protection film install.
So we do have one question. Can we pressurize if needed? Yeah, of course you can. As long as you have an air supply with you. Yeah, it's so many questions so far. Anyways, but yeah, I would completely agree. The higher pressure allows you to work with a higher pressure longer in a mobile setting. Because the more air volume you have inside the keg, the less pressure drop you'll have naturally, right? But you're compromising valuable liquid space for that. You wanna be able to cap that out with the highest pressure possible, so you can push everything out with naturally the highest pressure possible. Yeah, I think the only two really big differences that and now iron setup, right? I don't know of anybody offering an iron setup.
That's big. I mean, for guys who do a lot of decontaminating wash, at least for me, the iron step is a big step for me. And I used to spend a lot of time. It would take me at least good solid 5 to 8 minutes to walk around the car to get the product out. I usually have to go from the right hand to the left hand while I'm spraying because my hand is exhausted from spraying all this product out there. And then I also found that I would go through 32 ounces of product every 2 or 3 cars. I was getting a new bottle out and getting ready to spray again. And that's kind of where I asked myself a more efficient way. I reached out to Dave and, iron obviously is designed to dissolve iron-based products. So it was a little bit of, there was a lot of research we had to put into play because as that product sat there, it was dissolving the wand, it was dissolving the seals, it was dissolving things that it shouldn't be dissolving that caused the keg to fail. So we figured out ways that made sure that the keg didn't fail, but also produced a better result, a better spread of product while using less product. And that's when we found that trifecta, we were like, we have something here. We really, really do. And now I can go from doing a car, it takes me maybe solid minute, and I might be exaggerating on time. About as quickly as I can walk a car in a good even pace and get a good spread of product out there to allow the iron to do its job. So it makes it really nice cleaning wheels, cleaning tires. Cleaning wheels, decontaminating paint. That it's really become a really helpful and useful setup for me.
I'm just out of curiosity, have you noticed any saved product? I don't know if I've ever even asked you that in the past, but from keg compared to a trigger sprayer personally?
Oh, tremendous. I would say I would at least have doubled the output of amount, volume of product I'm using to get the results I need. For example, I just because we knew we were going to do this YouTube live, and I just want to refresh my memory and stuff like that. I did a half the car using my keg setup, and then the other half just using the old school spray. And I kept a close look at how much product was coming out of my spray bottle, and I was actually shocked. Where I would be able to put 32 ounces of liquid into a keg, and at least 5 to 6 cars out of it. Where in a 32 ounce spray setup, I'm about half that. Maybe getting about 3 cars, being conservative, but where I can confidently get about 5 cars out of the same quantity of product. So it's definitely nice. So it's definitely been an improvement in my system in the way I maintain vehicles and stuff like that. It's definitely have helped, and it's been worth going through R&Ding. It's definitely been worth it without question. I'm glad that we finally have something that we can bring out to the general public, bring out to the detailer, say, hey, look, there's a solution out there that's going to save you a crap ton of time, money, and produce more efficiency.
Right on. Yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of crazy too. Okay, hang on. I think I had a question. So Eric Ingram asked, how many kegs do I operate daily? That varies. Day to day, honestly. It depends on what I'm doing too. I mean, some days I have like 5 or 6 kegs set up with different chemicals, different ratios of wipeout, F-bomb. Now with fusion coming in, I mean, that's going to add probably 2 more different kegs. Different ratios, like, yeah, anything that I honestly use a larger quantity in it, larger quantity being 1 gallon or more. Like the only thing that I probably don't put in a keg is clay lube. That's it. I use kind of trigger sprayer, glass cleaner. I guess I don't.
You don't use wipeout for clay lube?
So I do, but a 10-to-1, I just mix that in a 32-ounce bottle.
Okay.
And a 32-ounce bottle will do it.
We gotta get Valor in a keg. Spray a whole car down and dry it.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean,
Yeah.
Especially with this water with it. It's a great idea. Because then I put a super fine mist and go back over it, dry all that up.
You can do a wash and wax in under an hour.
Yep.
10 minutes. Literally, almost as fast as you could walk back around the vehicle. That's crazy.
Well, and Ian from Auto Fiber, he brought out a new towel that might line up with this comment exactly. It's a dreadnought towel on one side, and I believe cream.
The amphibian.
Huh?
The amphibian.
Yeah. Yep. So that would be great. So you do a rinseless wash with wipeout with the dreadnought on one side, flip it over, grab your Valor, and go right at it.
Buff everything else off, you're done, literally.
Exactly. And you can either do the whole car at once or do one panel and go boom, 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 boom around. And
I will say too, the little amphibians he's got coming out, they might already be out. They're like an 8x8.
Yep.
Perfect for cleaning glass. Perfect, man. You spray the glass, use the dreadnought side to wipe with, as your abrasive, and then flip it over to the blue side, the mother fluffer material, buff it out. Perfect glass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. Always working on efficiency. So I mean that's a great, that's a great setup right there. Especially if you're doing, parking lot details, if you're a mobile detailer, if you do, dealership details where you're doing a high volume of cars and getting 5 cars done in the same time it would take you to do 2 or 3 cars. That obviously we can do the math. That adds up to coin.
That's money.
It's so vast and broad, and depending on the geographical makeup of where you live, guys might not be able to get a coating job. But if you want to detail cars, you can make $100 an hour doing wash and waxes. I mean, it's not hard to do. Invest in the right materials. You don't need 3 polishers. Invest in a keg. Invest in things that are going to make you money. You can carry it around in a hatchback car and still make money. You can do it. And I get a lot of guys all the time, Billy, what would you do? I can't get X amount of dollars for a coating here. I'm like, dude, you like detailing? I love detailing. Start doing, wipe out a bomb and Valor. You just do wash and wax jobs.
Yep.
That's what
And there's money. I mean,
not a wax, but
I agree with that. I don't, just because I have what you would qualify as a boutique shop does not mean that high volume. I mean, because one of my good buddies, he's a local detailer here, and he does high volume details, and he breaks about $8,000 to $10,000 a month just doing wash and waxes. That's it. But he does 3, 4, 5 a day, and he's got a keg, and it's about efficiency, it's about timing, it's about having a system in place. I know I'm going to do this, and this. I'm not guessing, and it's not a new setup every single new vehicle. I know how to do it, when to do it to get the most effective result, and then that's when you can start turning these cars out and make some coin. And
it's duplicable. It's duplicable. If you hire a kid out of high school to help you in the detail shop, it's something you can hand to that kid. It's very simple to understand and apply and use.
And that's where he's at, because he's looking at what I'm doing, and he's like, "Look, great, but that's a very specialized thing. It's not easily taught, or if it takes a long time to learn." Where he's looking at bringing on staff. He already has 2 other guys working for him that are helping him hit that, break that $10,000 barrier. So it's learnable, it's teachable, it's doable. And at the same time, it's a low stress situation as well. So, because sometimes when you're working on these boutique cars and you break something, you could go broke trying to replace it. Where, doing a wash and wax is not very, invasive to the vehicle. And especially looking at where our economy is, you might people, shops like me trying to start picking that up as well, doing the quick wash and waxes and using effective products is going to be a key role in helping me, be able to pay my bills.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Where'd you go, Dave?
Just over there for a second.
The Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Come on.
There's wreath.
Yeah, let's put it over there. I'm out on the other side from all that. It's probably a good thing, though. I mean, it is April. It's time to take it down.
So, Billy, you said you have the 15-gallon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just
What do you
sits
got?
by itself, and I got it hooked up to my high pressure for wheel wells. You should get one of those for wheel wells, things that I'm going to use the most volume for. And what product do you think I have in the 15-gallon keg?
Optimum.
100%. Put Wipeout in there because Wipeout is the most universal product. One day I was out there and I hooked a hose up to it and I'm spraying. I'm like, why's this thing foaming? I hooked up a fusion tip to it, but yeah, I put Wipeout in there because Wipeout, like I've been meaning to do a video. People keep asking me, well, how do you do wheels and tires without a pressure washer? I'm like, simple. You spray the wheels and tires down, you work them. Then I use the Wipeout in the keg, in the 15-gallon keg, to flush it all out.
So do you move the keg around, or do you have it kind of like set up on a?
I got a 50-foot hose on it. That thing's 160 pounds. It's full.
50-foot hose?
Throw it on my shoulder. Throw it on my shoulder, move it around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got 4 arms for days. You're hauling that thing around the shop, maybe doing some lunges or something.
I got a 50-foot hose on it, so I can kind of maneuver it around the car. Never have to move the keg. And that's another good thing too. That's worth mentioning about the kegs. You can get different length hoses. I like the longer hoses. If you're on the other side of the car, you don't have to keep moving the keg with you. And if you got plenty of hose, you're not going to be pulling it and knocking the keg over.
So do you keep your 15-gallon hooked to the your air compressor continuously, or do you just fill it and then detach it?
Yeah, I detach it. Yeah, I fill it up. I detach it. I probably could because it's sitting right next to my compressor. I could probably have a continuous air, but there's no need to.
And how much room do you leave for air? Do you do like 5 gallons of air, or do you do less?
No, I probably left maybe 2 gallons in there.
Really?
2 gallons of air. Yeah. Yeah, it's worked out well. Now, I know you can run them in series. Dave's talked about this before. You can fill the kegs all the way up, guys. If you, not you guys, but people watching, if you hook up a constant air supply to the keg, you can fill it all the way to the top. If you have a constant supply of air going to it. The only reason you want airspace in there is obviously when you're not supplying continuous pressure to it, it's got somewhere to put that air at. But no, the 15 out, no, I just leave it sitting there, unhook it, and it doesn't lose any pressure.
Yep. And I mean, Dave and I designed one for a client of mine. He owns a what do you call it for hops? He grows hops, so he needs to be able to go around and like pressure treat hops. And we're talking 40 acres of plants. So what we did was we did 2 kegs and we daisy chained them. So we have 1 keg, 1 5-gallon filled all the way to the top of this product, and then we have another 5-gallon with air. And he's just basically daisy chained those 2, and that allows him to get through 40 acres.
Cool. 5 gallons of air.
Yep.
That gives you a 50% of max capacity air volume, to get fancy words and everything. But it's at that ratio, it's better than filling a 5-gallon or 3 gallons of liquid to 2 gallons of air, because it gives you another gallon of air volume to play with in a mobile setting, so you have less pressure drop in the long run.
It makes sense.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
That worked out awesome.
I mean, and the client is, I mean, I've talked to him and he's very happy with the setup. He has it on the back of his little ATV, and that's what he does. He literally goes up and down the field, spraying away using 2 detail kegs.
Makes me think of like something for Roundup too. Go around spraying weeds.
I mean, that's what we came up with. The idea was the Roundup pumps, and we're like, is there a better way of doing this? I'm like, well, you know, I'm using these kegs. They're obviously, we know now they're chemical resistant, so let's give it a try. And worst case scenario, we go back to the drawing board, and we didn't have.
There you go. You buy a keg. You want to convince the wife that you need a keg, get her a keg too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny you say that. We here at the shop, we have a showroom. And when we clean the showroom, we use our detail keg and wipe out to clean it up.
Heck yeah.
You know, so it's a dusting product too. So when you buy the little tiny the 1.75 gallon keg and the white box, what's this? Just tell her it's for you, honey. We bought it for you. See how that goes over when you tell her that you bought her a cleaning product for the house. It's like getting a washing machine and dishwasher for Christmas. They just, yeah, that's exactly.
It's like that joke that goes, is like, you know, I'm sitting out on my front porch having a beer. My wife's out there cutting the grass. I'm watching her. Car drives by and a guy goes up the window. You ought to be home. I replied back and said, I am. That's why I'm drinking beer and she's cutting grass.
YouTube just crashed.
All the kids just went.
What did he just say? You got any questions coming in?
So there's one more question. How many cars have you done in a day with a keg? I mean, there's a lot of variables to that, right? How many people you have, etc. The quality of the washes themselves. I mean, because if you don't wash a fleet the same way you do, you know, anything else, right? Yeah, there's too many variables with that one. Besides that, yeah, no other one. I don't know how to answer the question. It depends on what you're doing, what you're set up for. Even the kegs you have, because I mean, like they were mentioning, you can plumb these kegs in series. So literally, you can have an unlimited supply of chemical behind your sprayer. You get a few 15 gallons stacked on top of each other, and before you know it, you've got 90 gallons of whatever rinseless, waterless solution you prefer, sitting there, wipe out, whatever, ready to go, right, at 150 psi. So it really depends on the quality of work you're trying to put out, the expectations of your customer, etc.
I mean, I'm picturing, as you're explaining this, I'm picturing, you know, like a mobile detailer, like a van that has, you know, maybe one side, instead of having this like I don't know if you guys seen it, where the guy opens up the door and like the whole door is all these spray bottles. And I'm picturing, instead of that, having a row of kegs and then having reels and having the reels labeled out, and you just basically pull out on a reel, just like an air hose or an extension cord. You use the product what you want to do and reel it back up when you're done. And I mean, can you imagine seeing that as a consumer driving by, where you've only ever seen is these guys with, you know, the same vacuum cleaner, the same spray bottle, the same everything, and then this guy has nothing but hoses and these kegs. Literally, they look like beer kegs sitting in the back of his car. What is this guy doing? What is he doing it? And they action. I mean, any customer, I mean, at least me as a consumer, I see somebody doing that, I'm going to be like, well, okay, they really have taken some time to think about their business and how to make their business better. And if that's the case, that's telling me they've already addressed all the details in cleaning a car. Now they're addressing the details in their business. So that sends a clear message. It really does. I mean, on a mobile perspective, in a shop, speak for that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth having. It is an investment. It's for sure an investment, but I've seen that investment pay dividend easily.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's how I run most of my stuff is off reels. I mean, I run a mobile detailing business as my full-time gig, right? And yeah, it's when you can drop a door and have everything there on a reel ready to go. I mean, there's literally no setup time. You drop a door, grab a sprayer, and you're working, right? Like there's no starting this, there's no grabbing that, there's no hooking this up.
Yep.
No, you're working.
And you don't have to carry any of your concentrates with you, do you?
No.
It's already
Everything's done. You open a door, whatever. There's grab your sprayer and you're working.
So now you can look at buying like the 5-gallon jug. I think you even make bigger, right, Billy? With for like F-bomb, you can buy the big 5-gallon containers.
Yeah, I use it 5s. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can buy that 5-gallon, and wherever you keep your mobile vehicle, keep it there. Do your prior mixes the day before or whatever. Now you're not hauling around concentrate. Now you have exactly what you need for every job that you need for that day, and who knows?
And for God's sake, you don't need a water tank.
Yeah. You don't need a
15-gallon detail keg and fill that with water. I mean,
I'm not a mathematician, but pulling 15 gallons in the back of my car versus pulling 100 gallons is going to definitely change my fuel economy.
So we got another question from Brian from the detail bag. He asked if I was using the same keg in my movie. So in my motion, my 3-hour motion picture I did. So the keg in the bag, the waterless keg, that was the same keg throughout 3 washes. At the end, I actually emptied that keg into a gallon jug, and I showed how much liquid I had left. In that keg, I put, to be really specific, I put 1.6 gallons in that keg to begin with, and I dumped out 3/4 of a gallon. That's after 3 washes. And it's pretty efficient.
What tip were you using? You were using the gray tip or the new?
The new waterless. And in that video too, you can see what I mean by projecting the mist out, because the angle of the camera is down, and you can see the actual angle from the tip. If that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
So I hope that answers that question, Brian. And with the other watches, I'm trying to remember because I had 3 videos not saved. It's because I run a phone that's old. It got full.
What's your guys' feeling about the foam tips?
About the what?
Using foam tips, I've gone back and forth on that, so I'm just kind of see what your guys' take on how you use the tip that cause a foam.
So I use it quite a bit, but it really depends on what I'm doing. For dirty, grimy stuff, 100%. I use it with generally F-bomb and the one. With Fusion, I've been doing both lately. I don't know. I don't know which one I like more. I really don't, because without the foaming, it still cleans just as good, but you can see what you're working with. You know what I mean? Where the foam with F-bomb, I prefer that because you have a little bit longer dwell time. Where when I'm doing a rinseless wash, I'm spraying and I'm working. I don't really hang out and watch it dwell. I'm there to get the job done. So, yeah, probably mixed in between both of them. It just depends on exactly what I'm doing.
Do you have a preference, Billy?
Say again.
Do you have a preference? I mean, do you use like the foam spray tip over
Yeah,
like a mist tip?
foam spray tip a lot of times for F-bomb.
Okay.
It's mostly for dwell, so it sits there, and works. Fusion was a big one. That was a lot of the reason we did fusion when we did it. So with foam, because a lot of your traditional guys, they want to see foam. They want to see soap on a car. But we wanted to give the option where it works effectively both with or without the foam. Engine chassis, vehicle chassis. If you foam it on there, it actually it kind of clings a little bit and gives it a chance to work and break down. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to what people recommend. Like rinseless washing has been around for well over 10 years. Some guys they want to see soap on a car. So I think some guys will like a foaming tip on the keg. Some guys will prefer, I don't care if it foams or not. I just want to start cleaning. But that's what I use it for. I even try to use it for wipeout. Wipeout won't really foam to it.
Yeah. I was across the state and I got a phone call from Billy. Hey man, you got to call me right now. This phone tip isn't working. I was like, oh dude, man, I'll call you in like 4 hours. I'm driving right now. Like I'm just thinking the whole way, like why about that phone? Like what's going on? And yeah, homie, no, he's trying to shoot wipeout.
We can start talking about another tip. We can start talking about another tip.
Yeah, I almost said another tip and everything. I was like, man, like when we got into it, I was like, no, I get smells wipeout. I was trying to see through there.
Now with the foam tip, do you guys feel like you use more or less the same amount of actual product coming out? One is obviously getting agitated and one's not, but do you think there is a difference there? Are you using less or more?
I think it's probably about the same. If it was more, the foaming action, the visual action of it makes you sometimes want to overuse the product, right? Because when it's going out in mist, you're just trying to get good coverage. With foam, you're trying to let it build up, in the cool effect or whatever. So I think that would be why you would use more, but I haven't noticed it using more than just a regular tip.
I would completely agree. It's just the same thing. And when you're on your phone, you're still shooting the foaming tip. It's cool to sit there and watch it.
Makes for good video.
Yeah.
Where do you guys use the foam most often? The foam setup?
Wheel wells, engines, tires.
Yep.
Barrels.
We've been using them on interiors before.
Yeah. Vinyl flooring. Awesome. Vinyl floors.
Shop floor.
Shop floors.
I've used it on the shop floor. Yep.
Dishes. Through all this quarantine, I filled a 3-gallon keg with Dawn, 1 ounce per gallon, with a foaming tip. Did some dishes with it. It was awesome. It was great.
Endless purposes.
Now, obviously, we've talked about the keg and having to be filled with using an air compressor. Do you think there are other solutions out there that people could use to fill a keg up with?
So
maybe another way of answering it: what does one would need? Because obviously, Billy, you have an air compressor that we would all want. Not all of us would have. I mean, could you use a really tiny pony keg, or pony air compressor? Could you use a pump if you had to?
So you can. You can even use something as small as like a 12-volt compressor you would use for something like train horns. For the smaller kegs, the 10 and the 15-gallon keg, you can use one of those compressors, but you need to get a 100% duty cycle. It's got to be a pretty heavy-duty small compressor. Okay. At that point, you may as well just buy a decent compressor.
So like the 1.75 gallon kegs to the 5-gallon kegs, you can pretty much get away with anything. It's when you get to
there was even one dude that he filled one up with a bike pump. It took some time, but he did it.
I would argue that
while your kids are home in quarantine, they act up. Go out there and fill that keg up with a bike pump.
I got a job for you.
I need all my kegs pressurized. You go back out there an hour later and be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to stop the bleeder."
Oh man.
Well, speaking about the bleeder, the release the pressure out of the keg. I've noticed different variations. I mean, how'd you come about yours?
So before I even made detail kegs, I played with a ton of different ones, different manufacturers. I started taking different manufacturers apart, putting them together, just trying to get one to create more pressure, right? I eventually went down to a hardware store. I got what's considered an over-the-counter spring, right? And that's how I got my very first version of the high-pressure release. And that was before detail kegs, before anything. So when I made detail kegs, I went to another spring manufacturer, got another different over-the-counter spring, and like 3 months after launching, that spring manufacturer came to me and told me they discontinued that spring and they're no longer making it. So I pulled a few old connections, and the springs now and then are made to my specific specs. So, and they've been in production now for a year this month. Yeah, so that's why there's a different variation in those. So there is, yeah, depending on when you have your detail keg. If you buy another one today, yeah, that really might be different. But at the same time, when you're manufacturing a large quantity of anything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. You have to start making parts made specifically for you because suppliers drop the ball, etc. Like you can't just rely on somebody to offer this forever. It just doesn't happen that way. People change, operations change. You have no control of that whatsoever.
You're always doing your homework. You're always looking at what's next, what's coming. You know, that way you're fixing a problem that hasn't even become a problem yet before it becomes a problem. And then obviously, the consumer, the guy who's buying the keg like me from you, never even knows that there was an issue.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and especially things like that. Like, I mean, sure, I could go out and I could advertise, "Hey, we had this issue, we fixed it," but it is what it is. It's fixed. Move on. You know what I mean?
Dave's on top of his game.
I try.
It's fun to talk to him on the phone. He's talking about pins and springs and all kinds of stuff. But a lot of guys didn't know he used to turn wrenches, so he has a mechanical background, a mechanical mind.
Yep.
That's a brain part behind these great kegs.
Yeah, I was a mechanic for a long time. It's a long time for me, right? I'm not that old.
I mean, like I said, I've had an opportunity. Last year, I was invited to go to a paint protection and window tint competition, which obviously there's a lot of people out there with kegs, and I had an opportunity to look at a lot of different setups, and there was none that I thought that had every aspect correctly taken care of. A lot of guys were out there filling them up with bicycle pumps because they have a tire connector. They don't have a high volume connection for a compressor. No regulators, so they don't even know how much pressure is actually in their keg. Using springs that fail at 75 psi. Just a lot of things that once it all lined up, it worked great for that person, but they had to get all of these variables to line up correctly to get that machine, get that device to do its thing. All I had to do is go to detailkegs.com and order what I needed, and then I had to call Dave and be like, "Hey, dude, you forgot to send my hoses. They're not in the box." But I mean,
send me a big old email.
yeah, my PayPal, I'm having a PayPal return. And, like my keg, I haven't done anything to it other than take it out of the box and plug it in. It's just done its job. None of the seals have failed. And people, I go to, when I was at that show and everybody's like, how much pressure you have there in the again? I'm like 150 pounds. And they're like, in the keg? I'm like, yeah, in the keg. We're at 75, 80 pounds. And when they saw what I was doing with it and how I was using that pressure to my advantage, they were just completely, they're like, oh, great. So now, because what they had was it's a great product, but they were just had a modified spray bottle. They more consistency, where this actually provides advantages with being able to move film and move solutions in ways that a spray bottle or any pump sprayer can never bring to the table. And for somebody in my end of the field, it's a must. I really think it's an absolute must. If you're looking to provide the best quality there is, having the best tools is going to be part of the equation. And I felt so far, my experience with the detailed and seeing other people set up, it's night and day difference for sure.
Oh, thanks for that. So, anybody have any other questions? We saw people popping in and out. I see the number going up and down. I'm not seeing any other questions.
How many people are watching?
We got 6.
6. Questions, guys, get them out.
Come on.
Complaints, questions, ideas. I mean, we're not ones who come up with all the ideas. We're just trying to find solutions for people's ideas. So, right, Billy? You didn't create
100%.
Yep.
Hang on.
A tool isn't going to make you money. Efficiency is what makes you money before a tool will. You could have the whiz bang 500 latest polish. If you don't know how to use it, it's not all that efficient. This is all basic fundamentals, and that's the same thing with like our brand. We build basic products. When you go to build a house, that house can be big and beautiful, but if the foundation isn't there to hold it, it's not going to stand. So basic fundamentals to build a detail on it all starts here. And nobody ever lost a basketball game and said, if we'd have alley-oop 3 or 4 more times, we'd have won the game. The game is always won and lost from the free throw line. It always goes back to the basics, fundamentals.
Yep. And good engineering is typically simple engineering.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need 7 or 9 or 10 different products to clean a vehicle. You can use 1 or 3 diluted in different ratios to give you the effectiveness that you need.
That's it. That's a big bag.
While we got some of the viewers out there, if you guys are using F-Bomb and Wipeout and Fusion and Valor, what are some ways you're using it, or how are you guys using it? What's your ratios? Have you guys come up with different solutions other than what's on the label, or have you even read the label? Well, it's curious. I'm curious, because I've used it. I've used it according to what Billy has told me, and it's produced the solutions that it produced. So I haven't had a reason to wander off the setup that I have. But I mean, there's guys out there like every day. I might have a conversation with somebody. I'm like, you do what and how? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go try that in my shop. Like, God, dang it, this is great. I'll give you an inside trick that I use. I use my rinseless keg not only when I'm between my compounding and polishing stages. I also use it when I'm using fiber pads. So my microfiber wool pads. I have my Wipeout keg right next to me, and I use it to blow out the pad. I challenge you to try it. You will be amazed at the difference of how much product you can get out of the pad. Because in my mind, if you're putting a compound, a polish into a fiber pad, microfiber is designed to hold on to something. It's not designed to let go. You put it on the paint surface, and you are going to be removing clear coat or you're removing paint. You know, if you've ever seen a contaminated microfiber pad, all the fibers lay flat. It might even have a little bit of gloss to it. That is paint or clear coat stuck in the pad. And, you know, you can take a brush to it and agitate and get some of that away. You can blow it out as well, but try spraying wipeout into it and then blow it out. You will be shocked at how much dust comes out of that pad. And that has allowed me to take a pad that I might only use 1 or 2 panels. Now I can use almost on the entire side of a car. Again, creating efficiency. I don't have to then clean 20 pads at the end of every car wash. I don't have to constantly be going to a drawer and grabbing fresh pads, prime that pad, get that pad effective again, to then go back to what I'm doing. I can constantly blow the pad out, blow it out consistently, and produce consistent clean results that I'm looking for, and while sitting in my chair, while everything's there. And that's creating faster time. Faster time equals more money.
So when you blow that out, what tip are you using? And how much product are you using?
Not much product. So that was another place where the new tip setup has really offered. I'm not trying to saturate the pad. Obviously, I'm not trying to get that pad wet. I'm just trying to get some. And again, Billy, you could correct. In my mind, what Wipeout is doing is doing 2 things. It's designed to break down dirt and grime. It's designed to create, break that static bond. Because at the end of the day, what holds dirt onto paint or what holds something to another surface is static energy. So when I put Wipeout in there, the first thing I'm thinking is breaking that static bond with the compounding chemical, the coat, with the fiber in there. So that's doing the one thing. Next, it's creating a capsule. It's capsulating that dirt. So now I just need to blow it out away from the pad. So I don't need much product. I need just enough to create a mist. I could even go grab my pad and show it to you guys live if you want to see one. Definitely comment if you want me to go show you doing that. And it is tremendous on how much I can get out. It's become such a staple to how I clean pads. So even if I wash a pad through my washing process, using what way you use, if you use it in the sink, whatever, let that pad dry out. And the next day, squirt some Wipeout into it and blow it with an air gun. And you'll be surprised at how much product you actually missed out of that pad. Huh. It's absolutely awesome way of cleaning pad. And I've seen you, Billy, use it, F-bomb and Wipeout together. So you've done it, but you've done, going from a dirty pad to a clean pad. I've also used it in between run cycles.
I'm going to give that a try. I've never tried that before, but you're right. Wipeout will encapsulate. The polymers in Wipeout are made to grab dirt and suspend it and hold dirt. So it is doing that to an effect. And you're blowing a pad out too, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the product's going in there and it's kind of breaking down, emulsifying, and making the 2 together. So spinning that paint residue or spent product. When you blow it out, it's blowing everything out together because it's holding on to those fibers, or the dirt and residue is encapsulated in that polymer. It's all coming out together.
Yep. Especially on microfiber. I mean, especially on a microfiber, because microfiber in its essence is designed to hold things. I mean, it's just little tiny microscopic fingers that are holding on to dirt. So with Wipeout, you're breaking that bond down. You're giving it a chance to get that dirt, get that contaminant out of the pad, and be able to create a clean surface again.
100%. Yeah.
And what ratio do you run Wipeout at when you do that?
32 to 1.
32 to 1. I have to try that. Huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. If our viewers got anything out of this whole video, that right there.
And even to add to that, even if you wanted to add to that argument, because prior to me trying Wipeout, I would do water. Because one of the things I'm concerned about is creating dust in my shop. When I'm compounding a car, I'll wear a mask or a respirator. I have a filter running into place, but still there's dust in the air. So if I could spray some water and then blow out my pad, I'm creating a free surface so that dust that's coming out is not floating up. It's just coming down and onto the ground. And that's kind of where I'm like, water works great, but what would happen if I tried a product that's designed to encapsulate something? And that's kind of where I'm like, what's worst case scenario? Because the concern I did have was that obviously Wipeout has hints in there. So like if you ever try to sand a car using Wipeout, nothing's going to ever happen. The sanding block's just going to surface. But that was yeah, exactly. Just going to hydroplane, and that was a concern that I had was that I'm going to create a surface. Now my pad is no longer going to cut; it's just going to skip across the surface. As far as I can tell, I don't notice a difference. I can't see a difference, and that's because I'm blowing it out, obviously. But I don't think the lubricants that are in Wipeout are potent enough to combat the chemicals that are in a compound or a polish or anything like that. Worst case scenario, if somebody wanted to argue that, then a mist of IPA and spray that and then blow it out once more. I mean, would you agree with me on that? That the lubricants in Wipeout are not that potent?
No, they're not. So the beauty behind a Wipeout, we get asked all the time, does Wipeout have a sealant in it? Then my natural answer is no, because I know what they're looking for. I know what question they're looking to ask. Does it provide protection? So Wipeout uses synthetic polymer, but it's made for gloss enhancing. So if you're doing dealer cars, you can wash that, dealer car, dry it off, and send it. It's going to be vibrant. The color's going to look good. It's going to look like it's waxed. But the polymers in there for the gloss enhancers aren't very strong at all. As a matter of fact, an IPA would strip it right off, or even water would strip it right off. So it serves two purposes. So what it's doing in terms of a pad, it's doing this exact same thing. And that was one thing I would worry about. And I guess it's not a problem, is it going to create a hydrophobic barrier with synthetic polymers in that pad? Then when you go back to paint, is it going to interfere? It sounds to me like that's not been a problem at all.
Yeah, at least with the fibers, because with a fiber, with a wool or microfiber, obviously that fiber is standing up, so you're blowing all the way around that one fiber. In my mind, you're getting rid of it. Maybe in a foam pad, you might have a different result where the foam is obviously going to absorb and soak in that product. So you might have an issue. Again, I don't know.
I'm gonna do some testing with that. I'm gonna do some. Even at that rate, you could use fusion. But I'm gonna do some testing. The reason I'd always put F-bomb with it is I wanted the soap and F-bomb to offset the polymers and Wipeout. But it's been a success for you. So, and I'll do some testing with that with both fiber and foam pads this week.
Yeah, it just allowed me to get more life out of one pad without having to switch it out. With microfiber, there's that at least the way for how I use a microfiber, I have to load it up and get the product spread in there. So switching a pad might be a 5 to 8 minute process, or I have to go to grab a new pad.
Expect your efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm sitting there and or the pad is almost at the end of its life, I want to get that one last imperfection out of that panel before I switch my pad, I can just spray a little Wipeout in there, blow it out, and it'll give me just a little bit more out of that pad life before I have to go and recharge a new pad.
Yeah.
And that's what literally, I have one of the giant carts and my buffing pad, my 3-gallon keg are part of that when I'm setting up. It is. Yep. Well, because it's not only where I can clean the pad, I can clean my machine real quickly. I can clean the panel that I'm working on. Obviously, if I'm doing paint correction, I will use Wipeout to then get the compound dust, but then I'll go back over it with like a white IPA wipe down just to make sure there's no fillers or anything like that. I'm trying to look through and look into the paint. But again, for just quickly dusting and cleaning that area up, I can't overlook the versatility of Wipeout, and then also the keg with that new spray tip. Because again, I'm not trying to saturate the panel. I'm just trying to pick some dust up and using that little tiny the mister. Yeah, the mist style is what has allowed me to use it the way I'm using it.
We got to ask. We launched Fusion. A lot of people ask us, "So are you going to discontinue Wipeout?" And we're like, "No, it's Wipeout is just, in my opinion, a class of its own. Fusion does this job. Wipeout does this job. Wipeout's so universal. Even as we're talking about these different scenarios, Wipeout is so universal."
Have you guys ever used Wipeout on the interiors?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a while because I've been doing some testing. So.
I like it. I prefer the shittle biddle mix for interiors myself, though. I don't know. I just like that sheen that leaves. I really do. Yeah, and if there is like stuff in the cup holders, whatever, spray it in there and it'll foam up with a brush. Let that just sit, dwell, go around. By the time you get back to the other side, everything just wipes right out.
How many people are watching, Dave?
We got 6.
So I'll go ahead and let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. I'm always cautious to do this. Before the coronavirus thing hit, we were working on some interior stuff, right? But I've always been a dresser, you know. Like I think a finished car has a dress look inside, right? Whether it's I like a low sheen, matte sheen. So we've been working on the product for about 1.5 years, and you know I didn't like it. I wanted to do this, do some different things. So we have a product that will probably be launching. I don't know, depending on when the virus is over. We've almost got it finished. That we're going to launch for interiors. So it's going to have the UV protection. It's going to leave a matte shine. You can put it in a spray gun, and I'll do videos on it a little closer, and literally spray an interior and never have to go in there and wipe everything. Just let it sit and dwell.
Oh, really?
It changes the surface tension. It's like a coating. It's like a coating.
Huh.
Not a ceramic coating, but it's like a coating, for lack of a better term. So between the 9 of us here, I figured I'd let that little cat out of the bag. We're supposed to.
I mean, that'd be something I'd be interested in using, because I mean, I do a lot of courtesy interior details. You know, just because a customer might get a large exterior package, and I just feel, you know, in my mind, well, you're not going to sit on the outside of your car on your way home. You're going to sit on the inside of the car. So I might as well do that courtesy. So that's kind of where I've used the wipeout, is that the customer's not really paying for an interior detail, but I want to just kind of wipe the dash off, wipe the steering wheel off, clean the infotainment screen, just so it feels fresh. And like you said, I don't like that greasy, glossy look. I just want a natural, finished, clean look, because then the customer goes, well, I didn't want the interior because I didn't want the greasy interior. If I can just clean up some of the dust, there's no way they can complain about that. That's kind of what I wipe out on the inside.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. There's been a long-going debate with some guys like, well, I don't dress interiors, but you'd be amazed at what a dressing would cover up imperfections in plastic. Not to mention, just gives it an overall finished look, regardless of what you're using. I know back in the day, we were doing production work. We're going around with a wax pad dressing the interiors. If you missed a spot, you can see it. You know, I hated that. You guys know what I'm talking about.
People ask me what products I use. I tell them I use three products only. It's either wheel acid, tire dressing, or Vaseline. Either the first one's going to get it off, or the other two is going to hide it.
100%.
So wrong, but by no means that's the actual reality. It's funny though.
Somebody's over with a notepad right now, Vaseline. How do you put that on my
Yeah.
Hey, you want hydrophobic effect on the paint? Vaseline. Won't get any better than that. I'm not going to say it's going to last more than an hour, but it'll be hydrophobic.
It works.
Oh, you got gum stain and salt stain in your syrup? Wheel acid. Clean it right up. Somebody's turning over in their grave right now as we speak.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Come on. Oh, turn my sound off. If you need anybody to test that interior coating, whatever you want to call it.
Oh well, yeah, I'll be hitting you guys up.
Just saying.
Yeah. Don't let me stop you sending it my way.
Oh, guess I can't turn my sound all the way off, or else I don't hear you guys either. Great. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, remind me this week when I get feeling better.
Okay.
Remind me this week, and I'll send a couple bottles out for you guys to check out.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I like to try some out.
And also, while I'm here, I got this crazy idea about making Valor purple instead of white. It should have been purple all along, right?
Why?
Why purple?
It's got the Medal of Honor on the label, you know.
Oh,
Purple.
Oh, I see.
I started thinking about that.
You can see who's the military guys here.
Right. You civilian assholes.
Talking about purple. We're thinking red, white, and blue flag.
Yeah.
Well,
America.
we're products that are white, right? But I was telling my wife, I was like, we've always had the red, white, and blue package, but in theory, it makes me wonder if I should have made Valor purple because it has the Medal of Honor on the label. It's Valor, notice the lettering's purple on it.
That makes sense.
It was like a hat tip to our veterans. But I don't know, it's just an idea. I'll make it purple. Nobody will buy the white. You watch. I'll distribute it off everywhere.
Huh.
Reading any questions?
Yeah, hang on. It's from Brian from the Detail Rag. That's a podcast, by the way. It's a pretty good podcast. Check it out. He says he loves wipeout on interiors. We'll be able to wipe the new product on the interior as an option. As I'm guessing he means Fusion as an interior cleaner. Yeah, I'd use it as an interior cleaner, and it works awesome because it doesn't leave that
dress. I mean, Fusion has a lot more cleaners than Wipeout does. It's a different formulation completely. So you're not going to get that finish that you guys are getting with Wipeout. It's more of a soap cleaner.
Yep.
So it may streak on like glossier finishes like the chrome dressings.
No. Actually, it's really, really good on windows and really good on stuff like that. But if some people are using Wipeout because they like the little natural sheen that it gives, I don't think you're going to get that with Fusion. Gotcha. At least I never tested it that way, But now Fusion's actually very, very good on windows.
Yeah, it's awesome. Especially as like the rinseless wash, just even as an amphibian, as you're finishing, drying, and buffing towel on windows. You don't have to go back and touch the glass afterwards. You go back, you buff it, you walk away. There's no streaks whatsoever. It's done.
There's nothing more embarrassing than deliver a car to a customer and you see a window streak.
That's so. Yeah. Hope they don't see it.
Or the sun hits
like around the customer. You're like, yeah, exactly. Here, why don't you go check out the driver's side over here?
Beth will tell you she detests cleaning windows. For years and years, we detail cars. I'm like, damn, I got to do the windows. I'm the boss. I'm not supposed to be cleaning windows, But we were formulating Wipeout. That's one of the things we did with Wipeout was I don't think you need a separate glass cleaner. It just doesn't make sense. You've got IPA, you've got Wipeout, you've got water. So now she's more than happy to clean windows. In fact, she cleans her own windows. All my aquarium cages, Wipeout.
Huh.
Well, she mows your lawn and cleans your windows?
No, she does not. If I told her that joke, I'd probably get hit in the head with a frying
pan. So Brian said no, the cat out of a bag product. So I guess you meant the release for the meaning of this video, which is an iron resistant detail keg. There's not an actual consumable product per se. It is a product, right? But just not as like a cleaning product. It's a tool.
Nah. Yeah, you wouldn't put. Is he saying? Would you put that in a keg?
No. I think he was meaning he was thinking that there's another product coming out because he came into the video late. I think he missed the beginning when we released the.
You're talking about your interior product that you mentioned, that when you just spray and walk away.
Oh.
Yeah, it's literally a spray and walk away. So you know how some interiors of a vehicle, especially if you're looking at the dash, you'll have a textured plastic and you'll have a smooth plastic, right? So like the dash would be like really textured, and then you have like a really smooth plastic. One of the things we were testing on it, because I always hated any kind of dressing, is because you have to be in there with a Q-tip dressing inside there. This product is more of a protectant than a dressing. However, with that being said, I always feel like an interior, it's the frosting on the cake. Throughout my years of detailing, we always diluted a water-based tire dressing down to clean an interior with, or to dress an interior with. Well, water-based tire dressings don't have any UV protection for the interior. They just don't. So there's no added value other than a shiny interior. So this here would be like a ready-to-use. You don't have to mix it. Literally, if you sprayed the entire interior and went over it with a towel, that's it. That's it. And we even use it on glass, and it'll wipe off the glass too. It won't clean glass, but if you inadvertently get it on glass, it'll wipe it
You'll
off.
wipe off without streaking.
Yeah, to wipe off that. Yeah, because I mean, we try to do things with ADG that's outside the norm. We try to do things that make sense. Like, how many products are you going to create, right? I don't want 50 SKUs. So we try to make the products that we make very, very good, versatile, but also very direct to what they are. This is coming from a guy that I had literally, man, it's embarrassing. I used to have, cabinets and cabinets and cabinets of this product, that product. I had all kinds. It was just crap. It was overload. And what I try to do is, number one, reform detailers. There's no better time than now during this coronavirus to get kind of humbled as to what your detailing industry, how volatile it is. You're a shop. So instead of having a ton of products, being a product collector, and there's always going to be guys that want to collect product to play with or whatever. And I completely understand that. I'm still kind of that way. Not as bad. But with our company, American Detailer Garage, we try to make very direct but versatile products that work every single time. That gives you a reason not to have to look anywhere else. And they're recession proof.
So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Brian.
Thanks for clearing that up, Brian.
Well, got any more questions? We're up to 7. It was up to 8 just a second ago. Coming in and out still. Come on.
What was our peak number?
I don't think we ever broke 10. Maybe we did for a minute. I don't know. You might tell me afterwards.
Well, it'll be on YouTube. Always come back and watch
She's in the background moderating. She said we were up to 12.
12. Cool.
Right on.
For those of you watching, I'm like under the weather. Like, I feel terrible.
Yeah, you had what, 103 fever last night?
What's that?
Would you say you had like 100-something fever last night?
I never checked it, but I would go from freezing cold. In fact, before we did this video today, I was on the couch covered up with blankets, shivering. But last night I'd go from hot to cold, hot to cold. Better yet, freezing to burning up, freezing, burning up. Got a lot of weird stuff going on. That happens when you hit my age, being 27 and everything. But
for the second time.
But the longer you lay there, it seems like the worse it gets. But yeah, I'm not 100% right now. I'm trying to do a good job and answer these questions and be in the game with you guys. But yeah, I feel like shit.
We're happy you're here.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
This is long been overdue. We keep talking about this, talk about it. It wouldn't be a bad idea to do this several times over. And you two are very dear friends of mine. I definitely appreciate the support that you guys have always had. First time I met Kaan, he's following me around Mobile Tech with a camera and asking me questions. I'm like, damn, this guy likes our stuff. And then he turned out to be a very, very, very dear friend of mine. And Dave, the same. But I always enjoy talking to you guys. You're very much more smarter than I am. But I always get a chance to bounce ideas off of you and learn from you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not that smart.
I just tried.
Brains can do it, you put them together. And not to mention,
I'm just a good engineer. What is it? Laziness is the mother of all engineering.
Yep.
What is it? An out of mind is the devil's playground.
There you go.
Shit we're going to come up with over the next couple of weeks during this quarantine. Guess what I tried? Is there any plans of making a tire dressing keg with a brush on the end of it?
So I can offer it. Absolutely. It's not a problem. The reason why Detail Kegs hasn't is because that's not how I personally dress tires. To dress a tire with a brush, you miss that bottom, 2.5-inch section that's touching the pavement, asphalt, concrete, whatever. So for that reason, I've always just sprayed the bottom either with a keg or my trigger spray or whatever, and then brush the rest.
I just asked that question because I knew somebody would ask it. That's the way things are. And Ian's got a new applicator coming out too. You tried it, Kaan? You tried it?
Yeah, I'm working with him on that.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with it, and we'll talk more after all this is over with, guys. But yeah, I've been really impressed with that too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would be concerned in spraying tire dressing just because it would go everywhere.
Oh, I know. I know.
You know, I know one of the war stories I know is one of my competitors was working in a body shop and he was asked to leave because he was spraying silicone tire dressing from a paint sprayer. And, yeah, and this body shop had, you know, they would keep getting fish eyes in the paint and they couldn't figure out why. Well, is this guy silicone spray everywhere in the shop?
Dude.
So every time I see anybody spraying a tire, I'm just like, that's a good mess.
back in the day, like when I was learning to detail, I used to get in trouble all the time because the last thing I would do is dress the tire, right? And you've seen it floating in the air and all that. Oh, I could never get that right. So now, like, I'll dress the tire first thing a lot of times, right? Depending on what I'm doing. Yeah, I prefer to put in an applicator and wipe it around the tire. But it's funny you bring that up because I used to get in trouble all the time when I was a young man. Be on the windows on black cars, on that car, on that car.
That's funny. So,
I read a comment.
oh, go ahead.
I think my wife just commented. She said, "I'm a science nerd."
I was going to say who it was, but yeah, that's what the comment says. Is Kaan is a science nerd.
There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate it. I'm glad he is.
It's from my years of doing tech. Yep.
Yeah.
I used to do high-end electronics before I got into doing this. I mean, I had a very decent, you know, 9-to-5 job doing about $70K a year, and I couldn't do it anymore. Working in the box just wasn't my thing.
Talking to people all day. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my number one thing in the day was answering emails. I would go through 100 emails a day, just typing. I'm like, oh, this is great. An 8x8.
That's brutal.
Oh, I got 30 minutes at noon. And that was my life. Yeah, I got to go home on weekends and I got to go on vacation and stuff like that. But what a shallow existence. And that's kind of why I get all up to do this. And it's been awesome. I mean, from the camaraderie that I get from different detailers to like you guys, I mean, to working with customers that I've got to work with, it's been one of the most amazing experiences that I've done so far in my life. It's definitely worth it. You know, being a car janitor is good.
Well, I'm glad you made the switch for one.
Yeah, me too.
My wife's in the back. She goes, "I'm indifferent."
That's understandable coming from the spouse, though.
Yeah, I don't care if you're miserable as long as I go on vacation. She says that until, you know, we go out and you know, in a customer's cars, my customers call me from time to time to take their car around the block, and some of my customers' cars are one of the bucket list cars to be able to drive. So it's been cool.
Oh yeah, you have to bring her to SEMA, let her meet the whole family.
Yeah, well, we hope that we can get through this bad time and we can still have SEMA.
Hope it still happens. Hopefully this is the right long gone by then.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully a lot of you guys are staying at home. That's kind of why we did this. And I mean, I'm trying to stay as inactive as possible and try to do my part. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything, but we are. We're really trying to help the healthcare system to get caught up so we can have events this year. And the more time we don't spend time sitting at home doing nothing, the longer it's going to take, and the longer we're going to miss out on these events that we really want to go to months from now.
Yeah, I agree.
And for everyone that missed Freedom Fest, that sucks because that was the last cool event.
Man, I'm glad we got that in. Oh,
yeah. Don't me regretting it. I mean,
no offense, Kaan, but
next year. We'll have it next year.
I can't believe that. It's crazy.
Next year?
Yeah, next year. Freedom Fest next year.
I don't know there's going to be another Freedom Fest. We'll talk about it later.
Don't talk about it.
I guess I'll have Freedom Fest in my shop, and next time you'll come.
Well, we talked about moving it. We've actually talked about moving it to different locations where different people can come.
Yeah.
So that's an idea.
I feel like Michigan is one of the lonely states when it comes to detailing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go at least a little bit south before it starts becoming popular. You know, I would say like, I don't know. It's not as events. I would say not detailing in general. I would say detailing events are not very common in Michigan.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So you guys got Detroit Auto Show and.
Yep. I mean, we have great car shows. Obviously, we're Motor City, you know, and I'm about 2 hours away from Detroit. So, I mean, we have great car events, you know, like the Metro Cruise. That's like, I think, one of the biggest car events in America. But like centralized detailing, you know, like Freedom Fest and stuff like that, it's far and few between. Like just detailing hosts and getting together and just a bunch of guys coming together. I mean, we are in an awkward place. I mean, there's not like go to Colorado. There's like how many 5, 6 states touching Colorado? So where Michigan's kind of like you got Ohio and Indiana touching it.
Yeah, Kentucky's kind of like that too.
Silence. So I'm dying to show this pad cleaning for you guys. Like it's like in the back of my mind. I want to go grab a pad and go clean it real quick.
Go do it. Go do
All right,
We got time. What's everybody doing? Netflix is done with.
I know social media's been kind of quiet the last few days, and I don't get on there a whole lot anyway. But no, it's been quiet. Let me check something real quick.
Everyone's checking stuff. I'm gonna check some too.
Yo, Con, hang on a minute.
Well, I'll read that later. So I hope that that answered your question, Brian. Yeah, that was my first Freedom Fest too. It was an awesome event. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time. It really was. Come on, I know somebody else got some more questions. Don't lie to me. Don't you lie to me.
Wait for Billy to come back.
He's off checking his temperature.
Can't do that on camera.
Behind the scenes.
There's a microfiber pad that I have. You can see, other than the color, let me try to see where the pad. I was trying to find one that was super dirty, but where the fibers are like collapsing on themselves. So especially on the edges and stuff like that. So just to prove you that it's not a trick. It's just air, right? And then I have my tip. That's about all I'm doing. I might want to work it in. See the difference? That's the size.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then you could actually, another place I can do a little bit more. And then I agitate it and blow it again. I mean, you can see all the residue that came out on my hand. Yeah. And the other thing too is it's nice and fluffy again.
Right. Huh. I see, sir.
Microfiber conditioners didn't wipe out.
And the towel, I mean, and it is dry. I mean, if I touch it, it's dry to the surface. It's not damp or wet or anything like that. There's nothing to wring out. I mean, it's just that light, you know, doesn't even show up on camera how little I'm using.
Yeah. Huh.
Pretty wild.
Interesting.
I've used it for a while and I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some playing around with that this week.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, at least give me feedback. Tell me I'm not completely out of my mind, or what am I doing is.
No, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I am concerned that the polymers are keeping the tap from being as effective as it could be, but I have proven myself so far. I haven't noticed that.
I agree with you.
What is everybody else out there? Do you guys just watch that? What do you guys think?
Well, we got 6 of you. I'm watching that comment bot. Come on. Come on. No question at all whatsoever.
Well, everybody's just shocked. That's what it is.
Everybody's just blown away right now. Well,
At least you got to see the new spray tip in action.
You got all kinds of little gold drops in this video, didn't it?
yeah. Yeah, there's some gold in this video if you can get through it all.
Not that bad.
No, I don't think it's too bad. Not bad at all.
I'd say it's slightly more entertaining than like a Tiger King episode or something.
This is very true.
Oh man.
I could drag the snakes out.
We want some wild animal. We got that. Whatever you guys need, we're here for you.
I have a couple dogs the size of tigers.
Somebody asked the question, what's better, a car or a truck? I like that little snake buddy.
It's my little albino, Sweet Pea.
Hello.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
It's so cool how tame they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not what most people think they are. I mean, I got one up here, the emerald tree. They can tag you. They got a nasty bite, but he's pretty laid back. And I got an Amazon tree over there. He'll nail you. But these guys, no, they're just chilling right with you.
Bitten by one?
What's that?
Have you ever been bitten, like good bite?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been tagged a few times.
What does it feel like? Does it feel like needles attacking you, or?
It happens so fast, man. It feels like, like little needles, and you'll bleed, depending on the size of the animal. But even like, I got a 6-foot boa right there. She's a pretty big girl. Even if she were to bite me, it would leave marks on your arm for maybe 3 days. Now, what will happen is if you get bit by like one of these, you'll bleed. You'll bleed a lot, and it's because of the hemotoxins in their saliva. It thins the blood out. It doesn't make you sick or anything like that, but you'll be like, man, I bled a lot, and it's just the hemotoxins.
So is it typically like if you ever get bit, it's the shock of like seeing a snake bite you more painful than the actual bite itself?
Yeah, and it happens so fast. Like I've got a Solomon Island. All my tree snakes are like that. And I was working with him one day, and you piss him off. Eventually, you piss him off, and he just reached around here like this and just kind of grabbed onto me, and I'd like pull him off. But anytime that they bite you and hold on, you can put like a little tequila or some alcohol in that area. You don't want to dump it down their throat, and they'll let go.
Oh, so they'll punch on. They'll like lockjaw onto you?
No, not a whole lot of bite pressure. If they were going to bite like that, they would bite and wrap. So they'll bite you out of 2 reasons. Out of defense, a defensive strike is like that, really quick, and they let go. And a food response, they mistake you for food, which the only way that happens is if you smell like rats. And they could bite, but as soon as they realize, well, that's not a rat, they'll let go. Yeah, they're not what people think they are. Oh, baby. I'll put you up. So yeah, that's the albino.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That's crazy.
That's cool.
All sorts of golden nuggets in this video.
That's right.
We got another comment. That's pretty cool stuff. Right on.
I I said, I use 3 products: fire dressing or Vaseline. So,
I mean, Will asked it'll sanitize, right?
I don't know what it'll do to the interior, but you want.
It'll sanitize.
I mean, what are you guys? I mean, I think he did that. I think that comment does bring up a good point. With it, no matter how we want to look at it, our business has changed from these events. Moving forward in history, it's changed just like any other major event that we've ever been through. Major tragic event. It's changed our lives. I mean, just look at how air travel is today compared to what it was back in the 2000s. So, do you feel like this after these events? Do you think interior detailing is going to be picking up, or interior sanitizing is going to be picking up? I mean, what's your feeling about that?
So my feeling, absolutely. But I mean, even before this, I think I did more interiors than exteriors. I don't know why exactly, but it seems like I'm always doing some super dirty, grimy interior somewhere. But after this, especially the word sanitize, whether you take that word and you pick it apart for every detail it is, or take it as for like a dictionary term of it. I think that's up for translation, right? But either or, that's what people are going to be looking for is the sanitation of their interiors.
I mean, as a mobile detailer, I mean, because you know that you do detail kegs, but you also have your detail business. I mean, is that terminology that you're going to use? Do you feel like using?
So today, actually, like no joke, 3-4 hours ago, I just Googled the word sanitize just to see what it says, and it basically just says to clean. So if you take that term of it, we're all sanitizing interiors, right?
I mean, it's almost. I mean, it's slight play on words. Custodial engineer kind of a scenario.
Exactly.
I mean, what's your feeling about it, Billy?
Yeah, well, I think it'll be on the forefront for a while, and I think it'll fade as everything does. Sanitizing the interior, we are in effect sanitizing before the virus. The average steering wheel was 10 times more germs and bacteria than a public toilet seat. So everything you put your hands on when you're driving down the road, your turns, you guys have always cleaned the turn signals. It's got the buildup, on there.
Yeah.
And there's microorganisms living on that stuff, and that's freaking nasty. So to what level you want to call something sanitizing? I wouldn't come home and tell your wife that you should spend all day cleaning the house. Well, you might have cleaned it, but you didn't sanitize it. I'm not sure I would do that, but I think you can make it a marketing term to fit you as long as you don't claim to kill coronavirus. The sanitation. I mean, the guy comes in and picks my trash up right at the end of the road. It's a sanitation company. Well, they're not cleaning my trash can out after they get done dumping it. They dump it. So the removal of garbage or harmful germs, bacteria is in effect sanitizing. So I think what you could do is be like, would you agree with me that an interior detail would lessen the chances of you getting sick or getting virus and bacteria transferred to you from the interior of the car, regardless if there's a virus, like coronavirus going on. I mean, it's just a statistical fact.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you
People get sick.
Do you guys see a slew of products coming out? It just kind of similar to when ceramic coating became popular. A lot of these product manufacturers are going to be, sanitize, kills, blah, 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 makes claims.
I've already heard of them doing that, but the thing is, you got to back it with something. So, it's like your vaporizers people use to smoke. It's never backed by the FDA, and there's a reason. So just like you can call something antimicrobial, but unless you go through the paperwork, the money, the time, it takes about a year to get something declared by the FDA or CDC. you know, by the time you get through all that red tape, you're going to have to mark your product up. And 6 months to a year, 18 months from now, is it even going to be effective?
Yeah.
Are you going to get a return? I think companies will. They always do find a way to capitalize on something, but I'm not sure it's going to be long-term standing.
Yeah, unless if you're going to go through the right process or procedures, they put on their label like made to the regulations of the FDA, the WHO, whoever. You know what I mean? It's not that it's been approved of; it's just to the regulations of, because they haven't gone through the red tape, all that to actually be approved to do what it says it's going to do.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the end user.
Yep, to the actual person.
Yep. And my wife, she works in the healthcare industry, and how to properly use PPE, personal protection equipment, at a hospital level. As a mobile detailer, as any detailer, I would think one would just hemorrhage money on the PPE products to try to make a claim that they're sanitizing the interior vehicle. Because if you touch that surface, whatever surface it is, that glove is now contaminated. So you have to remove that glove. We're not going to go through boxes of gloves out of car. You're just not going to. So, and you know, it's just going to happen. And there's so many different surfaces, many different types of materials, porous materials. There's, you know, hot, there's leathers, there's, you know, Alcantara. You know, there's all these different surfaces that I don't think one chemical can go on all of it, sanitize all of it effectively. You as an operator, you touch all these surfaces and claim every single surface is sanitized. But like what Billy said, there are things that we can do that reduce chances of you creating an unhealthy environment. And you know, yes, now we're very hyper aware of germs and, you know, being a sanitized society. You know, I think that's maybe the only thing that I see as a lining in the sky, is that a lot of people are going to be paying more attention to like Billy said, you know, steering wheels. What would you say? How many more times dirtier the steering wheel is?
I think it's like 10 times dirtier. I think it's 10. You can Google it. It's out there.
Yeah, gross.
10 times or
It's disgusting.
That's disgusting. You know, so you're going to start being hyper aware about that. And, you know, you could use the wrong product and damage a steering wheel, and that's not damage, because ideally as a vehicle owner, what you're going to stare at other than the steering, you know, steering wheel is going to be the big thing you're staring at right in front of you. So cleaning that properly could be a big I think it might be something big in the future.
I will say this, I made a comment in one of the posts, I don't know, a week or so ago, in regards to sanitation. F-bomb probably come the closest, you know, to something like that. And I got a couple people that are like, I don't know if I'd post that, so I just took it down, right? There's no reason to try to capitalize on it. But there was going to be a cleaner that would come close. I would call it F-bomb because of the soap-based nature of what it is. Then I also found out today that it does really well in artillery fungus. One of my buddies told me it did really well. So there's a reason F-bomb does things that other chemicals really don't do. I'm still not going to go out there and say it's going to sanitize a vehicle, you know, and rid it free of germs and viruses and all that stuff. But if I could, you know, say anything at all, I would say it's probably one of the closest ones out there to being able to do it. But again, I'm not making a claim. I didn't realize it would take off artillery fungus. Who knew? For those that don't know what artillery fungus is, it's mold spores. Largely comes from like mulch, landscaping, and they embed themselves on a car and they're a pain to get off. They're mold.
Huh. It's a good thing to bring up here with these companies bringing out these sanitizing chemicals, right? A lot of them are alcohol. So, I mean, I don't know how many of these 7 people that are watching are actually people at home. If you buy some of these alcohol-based products and you dump that on your steering wheel, you're going to probably die right off of it.
Yeah. Well, and especially also the CDC recommendation on poor surfaces, a chemical needs to be applied on 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, and interiors of cars are not made for that type of abuse.
No, you can't. It's not. You have to spray it on there in a mix. The surface has to be saturated for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yep.
You know, and you saturate an Alcantara with water, it's going to stain. Let alone sanitizing chemical.
Yep. Yeah, it's just going to tear it up.
You know, it just, and basically at the end of the day, I think it's too much unknown territory, and to be able to take the knowledge that we have in the detailing world and try to switch it over into something that is at medical grade is going to be difficult. Not saying it's not doable. It's going to take a lot of energy, and I don't know if from a car janitor's perspective, if the juice is actually squeezed. Now, maybe if you're a crime scene, those guys who clean up like crime scenes and stuff like that, and they do vehicles, that might be something up their alley. But for the average detailer, I don't see it being a versatile business solution.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, you're always going to have guys that specialize in things. That's what they specialize in. You can't be all things to everybody. You still got to run a business, have margins there. So if somebody's going to claim to sterilize something, let that company be the company that does that. Like you said, homicide cars and shit like that. They do that. That's their business.
Yep.
Probably more so than some of the coatings.
Well, and the other thing, at the end of the day, how many strangers does a person allow another person in a vehicle? I mean, other than being an Uber driver, do you just go and leave your car door open and just allow strangers to walk in? I mean, most of the time it's your immediate family, your immediate loved ones, your very close group of people that they're getting in this vehicle, touching this vehicle. So I do, that a vehicle is going to be the last place where you're going to get contaminated from something like a virus. But going back around, looking at like mold spores and stuff like that, carrying that into a house, it's, like you said, most of the orders come from landscaping. You said, so
yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, the artillery fungus, the mold.
Yeah, artillery fungus. Thank you. So, I mean, if you were a landscaper and you were working on cleaning your truck and you go home and then you take your family out for dinner, there's a chance that you're going to take your family with those artillery funguses. So where, be able to spray the interior in that aspect might be helpful. I don't see it being beyond that thing that I would think, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I would think, go about your business and keep being a good, I would say take this opportunity to hone in on your skills, to hone in on what's effective, what's not effective, and streamlining your system. So, because what's going to happen, because my wife's asked, we have a conversation in my house, are we going to go into an economy crash? Our businesses like us are going to go way of the dodo, like it happened in the early 2000s. I don't think so. Because in the past, it's always been a section of our economy, housing market, something like that. It's always been a small niche that's kind of affected the entire economy, where this has been an entire halt on a planetary scale. We stopped doing everything. Well, what does that mean? Once this is over, everybody's going to have an itch to scratch and he's going to want to get out there. The guy who's been dreaming about his Corvette, he's going to want that car done yesterday. And I think this is for some of us, it's going to be the calm before the storm. And this is the opportunity you need to do, hone in on skills, hone in on techniques, because what's going to happen is once this is over, you're going to have more customers than you know what to do with.
I think it's accurate. I do. I think it's accurate.
My customer right now, I have a customer right now. See, that car right here, I'm dealing with. And I, we had the conversation. I'm like, look, if you want to cancel, that's fine. I completely understand the scenario. And he goes, absolutely not. Right now I'm miserable. I need some sort of, grace, something to feel good about. And he wants his car dialed in so he can go out into his garage and stare at his pride and joy. So, I feel like we're going to see a lot more of that once these once we get on the other side of this virus and we have the upper hand as a country, I think we're going to see a lot more consumers out there shopping for things that makes them feel good, and makes them feel clean. I mean, we're cleaning a car that's going to have a clean surface, that's going to check one box, and another box is they're going to feel good about it. So I truly, at least I'm banking on the idea that this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for too, really. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be still a ton of work that comes after all this. But I do feel that some of that work is going to shift. I really do. Like your high-end corrections, coatings. I mean, some of it's still going to be there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be as flooded as it was. For like a fear, whatever. I mean, it might come back in a year, whatever, after all this is done with. But I think high-dollar interior jobs is where it's going to be at for a little bit after all this is said and done. After the run is dead, whatever, it's going to be your high-end interior coating jobs per se. Then it'll kind of trickle back out and go back to where it was. I would assume it does, right?
I mean, as I mean, we've been talking about this for years from the economy perspective, but we're well overdue for a downturn. We've been on the up and up for the better part over a decade now. So, in the back of my mind, I've always had the thought process that there is an end to this, and there's going to have to be a reset button for our industry, because we've been on the up and up for so long. So it is a very terrible situation, and there's a lot of people very afraid, and there's people that are out there that are very sick, but for some of us, it is also going to be an opportunity, like I said, to take and look at your system, look at your brand, and make improvements, and use this advantage. Instead of watching everything on Netflix twice, use this opportunity to get ready. So, because I'm getting ready, and I'm sure I'm not alone, and the way I tell myself is, your competitors are just waiting for you to drop your ball. They're waiting for you to fall so they can pick up where you left off. Don't give them that chance. Be prepared. Always be moving forward, and look at it in that perspective, and prepare for the worst, plan for the best, and hope you can get the best.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Sweet.
We
got one more question.
I read it. I was wondering if you were going to address it. Are you addressing the toilet one?
Yeah. What can you use in a keg when you're out of toilet paper? I would use Fusion.
Wipe out the tornado.
I would get a beer kit.
F-bomb on a foam tip.
Yeah. They don't get it done.
Get family involved. You can stand there. They can hit you with it.
Turn into a game.
They'll scar your whole family for life.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, I mean, other than like toilet paper in our industry, at least for me, what I'm coming across to being an issue is IPA, finding isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah.
For prep wipes and for doing paint protection film, it's a must-have product. And I'm down to my last 32 ounces, and it's I'm not sure what I'm going to do afterwards.
Dang. Buy some hand sanitizer.
I was actually reading on the forums this morning. There's guys out there that are using ammonia-based window cleaner to panel prep cars before coatings.
Huh.
You can go to a body shop supply store and pick up like pre-clean, you know.
That's what I would do. I'd go to a body shop and get panel clean.
I gotcha.
That's gonna be my contingency plan with those. They have those prep wipe towels you can buy. They're already loaded up with product.
Yeah.
You know, the low lint.
You can even get those the wipes. You can get those anywhere. Your Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere.
I would imagine at the big box stores they're probably already gone. Somebody probably ordered them. The body shop stores, not nobody's gonna think about it.
Yeah, they used to be at the big box stores. I'll just say that.
I mean, worst case scenario, just go back to wheel acid.
So, okay, we'll see you, Brian. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate the comment.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the questions too. Helped us out.
Yeah. Yeah. How many watchers we have, Dave?
So we got 5.
Okay.
5.
Might as well wrap it up.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Don't have any more questions. Yeah, go ahead and end the YouTube. Before we go, I just want to say thanks, Kaan. Thanks, Billy. Taking the time out of your day, your busy Sunday. I mean, we've been going out of this for just 2 hours, 10 minutes here, but even before that, you spent some time making sure this works, etc. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Really, I appreciate you guys.
I'll leave you. We didn't ever do a close up to the iron keg, so that's my iron keg right there, and then that's so that's the iron tip, and then the whole setup for it.
Cheer. Right on. Well, those of you made it this far, thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.